Welcome to Enjoy the Journey podcast, where we interview expert entrepreneurs and thought leaders to help guide you in pursuit of financial freedom. Presented to you by Jackson Milan, the Wealth Mentor, where we help service-based business owners remove cash flow bottlenecks, maximize their profits, and turn business profits into personal wealth. G'day guys, this is Jackson Milan, the Wealth Mentor, and we're here for another episode of the Enjoy the Journey podcast. And I've got a really great guest here today, Parker Stevenson from Evolved Finance. And Parker was introduced to me, and as soon as we met and had a conversation, we hit it off because we really see eye to eye when it comes to helping service-based business owners take their business to the next level by having a deeper understanding of their finances. Now, we've been preaching to our clients for many years that having a good bookkeeper on your team is critical to your success. And probably I'd say about 9 out of 10 clients that we work with have some level of issues with their books and the way that their data is being presented for them financially, which means that it impacts their ability to make good quality financial decisions. Parker actually specializes in this space. His business has been focusing on helping online entrepreneurs in the States get their books in order so they can grow and scale. And I'm super excited to do a bit of a deep dive today. So Parker, thanks for joining us, mate. How you doing?
Jackson, I'm doing great, man. I'm in the comfort of my home. I'm feeling very wussy, just sitting here in sunny San Diego while you're roughing it and getting out in the wilderness. But I'm very excited to talk with you.
Mate, I appreciate you making the time. So, Parker, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah. So again, my name is Parker Stevenson. I am the chief business officer at Evolve Finance, and we're essentially just a bookkeeping firm that focuses on online businesses. So our clients are some of the top course creators, coaches, influencers, and service providers in the online space. My business partner, Corey Whitaker, started the business about 10 years ago, had the good foresight to specialize and niche down into the online space, which I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having a bookkeeper that does understand your niche. And essentially, we've grown by word of mouth from our clients, spreading the Evolve Finance word in the industry, simply because they're usually so excited that they have a bookkeeper that actually understands their business model and knows how to put the data in front of them in a way that makes sense for their business model. And then also because we specialize in this niche, we're able to provide some metrics, some basic financial guidance around like, is my business healthy, and how do I use the data in my business to make better financial decisions?
Beautiful. I love that. That's so important. And look, I think there's a lot of bookkeepers out there who are either jack of all trades, they're trying to work with all businesses, or
Mhm.
they're part of like an accounting business and it's kind of like an ancillary service that's not something that they really
Totally.
specialize in. They're kind of dabbling. So I'd love to deep dive into that in a little bit more. But Parker, you had a life before Evolve Finance. So what were you doing prior to getting involved with Corey?
It was definitely not planning on being a partner in a bookkeeping business. That's for sure. I was someone that like I am proof to our clients that anyone can learn their numbers and get comfortable with financial data. Because I went to school in Los Angeles. I live in San Diego, but I went to school in LA. I thought I was going to be a rock star. Like I was a musician. I have family in the music industry who are very successful in it. And being in LA, I was like, I'm gonna get my band going, and played in a rock band for a number of years in LA, and we had a great run. I mean, we were a really good band, but the odds aren't good that you're going to be successful as a musician or actor or whatever it is. That when the band broke up, I kind of realized, okay, I sort of want to like get a grown-up job. Well, I want number one, I just want to have one job, being in a band and working full-time. I was burnt out. So I moved back down to San Diego. I was super passionate about golf, and the golf industry is in San Diego. It's kind of like the mecca down here for golf. So I got a job with TaylorMade Adidas Golf and worked on the Adidas side of the business and got to work for Adidas for 5 years. And I kind of looked at that as my master's program because I learned a lot about entrepreneurship being in a band. During my band time, I was working for a consulting company in the auto industry. We're kind of like auto spies, which is a whole nother conversation. But after working at Adidas, I kind of realized I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial. I learned so much while I was there, but I have a hard time listening to what like other people are telling me, like executives, like the direction they're sending the company and all this, that I realized I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial, but I didn't really have an idea. Here comes Corey. Him and his wife are our best friends. They had this little bookkeeping business that had a really cool niche. I was really interested in it. And I look back at it now and I go, God, I can't believe we made the jump, but we kind of thought, like we both agreed, I think I can help you grow this business. And sure enough, I jump in, I learn how to do bookkeeping. And 6 years later, here we are. And we're like 4 times bigger than we were back then. And it's like the most fulfilled I've ever been in anything in my life so far.
I love that. That's fantastic, mate. And look, I think what's really interesting is that I think many people, when they think of bookkeeping, they just think of a snorefest, right? Like there couldn't be
Totally.
anything more boring in the world. But I think when you really understand the value of bookkeeping, it's not just matching up kind of ones and zeros. There's actually a reason behind it, and there's a reason to have good quality books. You can really kind of get excited about it. I know I geek out about it. So, Parker, let's talk about some of the places where people really get this wrong in their online business. What are the biggest faux pas or mistakes that online businesses make when it comes to their books?
The biggest one is just ignoring it. Like, I think that's the hardest part of being a business owner, is accepting the fact that we have this extra responsibility as business owners. I know a lot of business coaches go, focus on what you're good at and only do the things that you like to do. And it's like, sure, when your business gets big enough and you can hire out a team to do all the things you don't like to do, awesome, like great. But, especially when you get started, you kind of have to do everything, right? And so that's where, as businesses grow, one of the first things business owners should be doing is getting an accountant or getting a bookkeeper. But they kind of go, you just take care of it. I don't really want to have to know anything about it or deal with it. And we've just feel that's such a missed opportunity, because, as you know, Jackson, you need feedback in your business, whether it's your marketing metrics, whether it's your finances. The only way we're going to become better business owners is by making sure we have feedback and information coming back to us, letting us know, cool, do more of this. Might need to stop doing that or figure out a different solution. And that's really where bookkeeping comes into play. So I think just making sure you're not avoiding your numbers is just the first step in accepting that you don't have to do your bookkeeping. You don't have to file your taxes, but it's important that you start to bring the people in to your business that can support you with these things, and that you're also taking some responsibility to work with them to make sure you understand how these things work. The other big thing is, it seems for some business owners, I think this just feels natural to them, or maybe they got the advice early on. But for some people, if no one's told you this, you might not know, but separating your business and personal finances are so important. And that's where, again, talking about that extra responsibility, most people in Jackson, you really know this, like most people have a hard enough time just keeping their personal finances in good order, and just being that, doing like the adult stuff with your numbers, right? Just like being a grown up and like investing and doing all the things that we're told to do. When you become a business owner, we still have to make sure we have our household budget and our retirement and all the things we should be doing with our money in place. But now we also have to be thinking about the business. So if all of the financial transactions in your life are all happening in one checking account and one credit card, it becomes really hard for your bookkeeper to do their job, really hard for your accountant to file your taxes. And it becomes really hard for you, like, I think just from a mindset standpoint, to separate these two different sort of entities that you need to be managing, and getting the visibility into those two things that you need. So if you're not really separating your business and personal finances right now, no shame. Again, I think there's just such poor education around this stuff that I don't blame you if that's what you've done. But this is like a super actionable thing that I think you can be doing right now to just, again, start to take the financial side of your business a little more seriously. And then the last thing I would say is just get an accountant. Like, we don't even file taxes. Like, it's not even, it doesn't help me to tell you to get an accountant. But I'd say the only times we've seen business owners really put themselves in situations that I think they really regret, where it almost makes them regret they started their businesses, is when they try to do the taxes themselves, or their business partner did it, or Aunt Jane did it because she said she could do it. And they just sort of cheaped out on this part of their business to just get it done. And then huge tax bills come their way, and they kind of get in this hole that becomes really hard to dig themselves out of. That's where it's like, we all understand that taxes are a part of life, and we all understand as business owners that we're going to have to be more responsible for those taxes. Don't try to do it yourself. Get an accountant involved in your business early on, and just plan that that's a sunk cost every year. And that person's going to be worth every dollar you give them by making sure that you're on the up and up with your tax liabilities.
There's so much here, Parker, because I guess this is the biggest parts. And we don't just see it with our US clients, we see it in Australia as well. These mistakes are so common. So let's unpack this personal and business expense kind of thing. Many
Mhm.
business owners treat their business like it's an ATM, right? They're just pulling cash
Yes.
out left, right, and center. Now, a common objection that I get is, well, Jackson, some of my meals and entertainment are deductible. And it's questionable. I say, okay, are you taking out a client for dinner And is that really a key part of you facilitating your business strategy, or is it you just going out and grabbing lunch every day and treating it as meal and entertainment expense? What's your view on that, mate?
Well, in the US, it's really the tax code's pretty clear. They really kind of clamped down on that in the last year with the last White House administration, with some of the tax laws that they passed, where like entertainment isn't even kind of you can't really write off entertainment expenses anymore. So, what we typically see with our clients is when they're traveling, they're going out to an event and a conference, and they're paying for food while they're traveling for work. Then cool, like write it off. Otherwise, yeah, if you're taking out customers or clients, sure. But a lot of our clients don't really do that very often. So a lot of the times it's pretty obvious based on the amount of expense on their meals, whether or not they're taking advantage of that or not. But again, our clients, I think, are a little more educated on that
Yeah,
piece, because if we see it get a little out of control, we might just give them a little nudge to be like, hey, just want to make sure this might throw up some red flags with the IRS. And the thing is, as a business owner, you'll get so many other great write-offs in your business that like writing off like unnecessary $15 meals is really not going to help you in the long run. So
100%.
definitely a place we want to be careful and not try to overdo it on the
I
meals.
agree. I think we just normally what we do with our clients, we just say segment it, pay yourself more so you can go to the restaurants and have the lunches out and
Totally.
do what you want to do, and just leave it out of the business. Not meant for that. So the next part is abdicating this responsibility. And I think this comes down to it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, Parker, because I guess
Mhm.
most finance folks, bookkeepers and accountants aren't necessarily the best communicators. In many cases, they're numbers people and they just want to sit in the dark depths of their financial dungeon, just reconciling the books. So, as a business owner, trying to get more value out of your bookkeeper or accountant, what are the kinds of questions you should be asking?
Well, this kind of comes down to something we mentioned earlier, Jackson, where I think getting someone who fundamentally understands your business model is so key, because then you can have conversations with them that aren't like you explaining the basics of how your business works. And so because you're absolutely right. I think other financial service professionals, accountants, bookkeepers, whoever they may be, the customer service side is really lacking. And I think that's why I don't blame a lot of business owners for getting frustrated with this part of their business. But I think what's important to understand is that whether it's a bookkeeper, like a bookkeeping firm like us, or even your accountant, a lot of the times businesses like these will just work with any business that comes their way. So they might be working with your business, and then they might be working with a dentist's office, and then a laundromat, and a bookstore, and a real estate agent. And so they're kind of having to learn how to do a crappy job of doing the books for everybody, instead of learning how to do the books really well for one type of business. And it's, again, you wouldn't know this unless you're in finance, but like doing the books for a inventory based business, for example, like a bookstore, is going to be dramatically different than a dentist's office, or dramatically different than an online business. So
Yep.
that's where I think, just like really almost any expert you bring into your business, if you have a copywriter who's only done medical copywriting, they're probably not going to be a good fit for your coaching business copywriting, right? Well, the same thing is going to be for your bookkeeper or accountant. You want them to have experience in your industry, so that way you can have productive conversations around what's going on with your business. And then hopefully they'll be providing a service that's going to be a little more customized. I mean, that's definitely what we do at Evolve Finance, right? But it's a situation where if you're talking to an accountant or a bookkeeper, someone who's going to be helping you with any aspect of your finances or taxes, and you're having a conversation trying to explain them and get them to understand what your business even is, that's probably a good sign that it's going to be a frustrating business relationship for you. And we might want to look for someone else to support you with this part of the business.
Ah, mate, this is music to my ears because, like, similar for us, we only work with service-based business owners, and we help them with two things: we help them with their profit, and we help them with their wealth. And because we work with those people, we understand their businesses, we understand how to improve those things.
Mhm.
So it turns it from being a commoditized service where maybe somebody's just doing your reconciliation of your books and sending you a report, a generic report for that matter, once a month, and
Yep.
sometimes that's not even happening, to actually being a value add service. And this takes this from being an expense to being an investment in your business.
Totally. Yeah. And that is the piece that, again, I think our industry as a whole has this perception that I don't want to explain this stuff to you. You're not going to want to hear it anyway. So let's just get this work done so we can file your taxes. And like if you work for a larger organization, There's a reason there's a CFO. There's a reason there's a finance department, because the other departments need the financial information that's happening in the business to track their sales targets, to
Yeah.
track the budgets for their departments, because that's how those executives and leaders make decisions to be successful in the departments that they work in. And so I think as business owners, I just think really this story that does a disservice to the intelligence and ability of business owners that you're not going to be able to understand this anyways. But this is where, again, because we specialize only in online businesses, we're organizing the data for our clients in a way that makes sense for them. So once they start getting those numbers every month and we've explained to them how to look at it, what to look out for, a lot of the times the business owners go, oh, like, why did I think that was so scary? The hard part is the bookkeeping and organizing it properly for your type of business, but that's why our clients pay us, is to do the
Mm.
hard part. The easier part is getting the reports, like for us, hopping on a group call or talking to your account manager and making sure you're understanding the numbers that we're providing and the metrics in your industry that you want to be working towards. And again, if you can add and subtract, which I'm guessing everybody listening to this podcast can do some basic math, then you can 100% understand this part of your business. It's just unfortunately a lot of bookkeepers just don't really want to go through that exercise of, number one, organizing the data properly for your business, let alone having to explain any of this stuff to you as well.
Yeah, and look, you can't abdicate this stuff because finance and business are one and the same thing. You're in business for profit, and if you're not taking
Totally.
responsibility for this aspect of your business, then the likelihood of you having profit at the end of the year is pretty slim. You're just taking a leap of faith, which is crazy to me. But I think people like yourself that are really shifting this, which is super cool. So, Buck, I'd love to chat about the biggest mistakes and maybe some horror stories that you've seen, because I really like to scare people away from doing this stuff themselves, doing their own
Mhm.
bookkeeping or filing their own taxes. What are some of the horror stories that you've experienced over the years of working in evolved finance, of people doing things themselves?
The horror story we just see over and over again is just people coming to us going, I feel like I should be I should be proud of what's going on in my business. And I go to bed every night stressed out of my mind because I just don't know what's going on. Right. And we've had numerous clients come to us. I mean, one of our more well-known clients came to us about 5 years ago. She had a phenomenal start to the year. Like her business was up leveling. It was kind of like the start of her current trajectory. And she like literally shut down a launch because she was like, I'm bringing all this money in and I have no idea where it's going. I don't know what's going on. And it literally like paralyzed her. And she wasn't sure, like, she felt irresponsible to be collecting more revenue and making more sales when she felt like she had no systems or processes in place or any foundation to actually track this stuff. And so the way I kind of look at it is like the dashboard of a vehicle, of a car, right? If I gave you a car where I just blacked out the dashboard so you can't see the gas, you can't see your check engine light, your tire pressure, how fast you're going, can you drive the car? Sure, you can. Like, it'll still turn on and you can drive it, but is it going to be very fun or stress-free to drive it? Well, if you're like me and on the anal retentive side, I'm probably going to be driving way too slow because I don't want to get a ticket. I'm going to be going to the gas station way more often than I need to because I'm always going to be afraid of running out of gas, spending way too much money going to the mechanic because I'm going to want to get an oil change and tune-ups way more than I probably need to, right? And then there's other people on the flip side who will drive that sucker into the ground and be getting towed because they're running out of gas or the engine stalling or whatever. And I think that's where a lot of business owners kind of wait until it's so painful, not seeing what's going on in their business, that it causes so much stress that then they finally like reach out to someone like us to give them that insight and give them access to their dashboard so they know kind of what direction they're going. But on the flip side of that, we had another client come to us where, again, like the business partner did the books. And we actually had, I think, two clients who came to us in this situation where their business partner was doing the books. And then by the time they came to us, they owed such huge tax bills to the IRS that it essentially just broke their businesses. What I was talking about first is about that insight you need as a business owner to make better business decisions. But we also can't ignore the fact we need bookkeeping for our taxes. And that's the piece where it just breaks my heart when someone just trusted the wrong person. They did their books improperly, then tried to file the taxes themselves thinking it's close enough, and then they absolutely hose themselves, just kind of dig themselves in a hole they can't get out of. So these are the things where like I always joke with our clients, we take more credit than we probably should for their success. I'm like, you came to us and your business grows, we should be charging a lot more money. But I also don't think it's a coincidence that their businesses grow, because when you start to feel empowered around, oh, I actually feel like I see what's going on in the entirety of my business. I don't feel like there's any secrets anymore, or there's nothing I feel ashamed about because I don't have as much insight into it as I feel like I should. It frees them up to start making bigger moves and being more confident in their businesses because they have that visibility. But when you don't have visibility into something as so important as your finances, it's hard to play big. It's hard to feel like you can move forward with confidence. And we just have seen so many businesses stay small for longer than they probably needed to, simply because they just should have had that financial insight earlier on in their business's development.
Yeah, that's so key. Completely get it. So, and I think this is really important, right? Because I think the longer you defer this, the more difficult it can be to claw your way out. Because I think there's nothing worse as being a business owner in tax debt, of trying to get yourself out of a hole whilst trying to pay your current taxes as you're accruing them. You've almost got to work twice as hard in order to get yourself back to square one to be able to push
Totally.
forwards. So I think that's really key. So, Parker, I know that we've had a couple of conversations around profit first. We've spoken about profit first can work for some businesses, but it's normally a tool that is for business owners who maybe don't have a good bookkeeping system and don't have good integrity around their numbers. So, talk us through that. Why do you feel that bookkeeping can be a better solution than the profit first system?
Profit First it's a book that I almost can't even believe got popular, but people were like so hungry for financial information that a guy who's not even a finance dude said, this is the system I figured out. It worked for me. I think it might work for your business. Check it out. And it just shows the hunger, I think, in the marketplace for business owners to be like, somebody makes sense of this. And so I think Profit First has been really helpful in giving business owners a system, something to work off of, right? Some way of using an envelope system to organize their numbers. And I think that's phenomenal. But eventually, I think in all of our businesses, we want to keep things simple in the beginning, but there's nuance. We need nuance in our businesses. Just like, maybe you start dabbling with some Facebook ads and you're investing a little bit in ads and you're just kind of experimenting. You have a simple dashboard. But eventually, if you're really going to scale that up, we need more nuance. We need better ways of organizing the information in our marketing metrics to see, are we getting a return on investment from our ads, and how is our funnel working, right? Eventually, it's going to become a little more complicated. We don't have to overcomplicate it unnecessarily, but you spend more money on marketing, you're going to need to track more things to make sure that you're getting a return. So I think when it comes to businesses and Profit First is a system that has some great general metrics to start getting business owners organized. But like I said, with us and our clients, a lot of our clients have used Profit First, but once their books are actually, number one, done on time every month, number two, their profit and loss statements are actually organized in a way, and their categorization is organized in a way that makes sense for their business model. And then they know what metrics on the profit and loss statement they need to be monitoring. And then you combine that with us guiding our clients towards building up 3 months of operating expenses in their business, so they have a cash reserve in the business, so they're not walking on this tightrope every single month with, running out of money and having a little bit of money and then running out of money. That then all of a sudden they go, oh, I know what metrics I need to be paying attention to. I know what I need to be hitting for my sales targets in order to make sure I'm covering my nut and I can get paid. And I have my 3-month buffer. I have my 3 months of operating expenses saved up that will allow me to get through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Not every month is going to be your biggest month. And even our most successful clients have months where maybe they take a loss for that 1 month. They don't stress about it, because they know they have money in the bank and they know what metrics to be paying attention to in their profit and loss statement. But I think a lot of the times business owners just go, just give me a percent. Like, what percent should I be saving for this? Or what should I be doing for that? And I get that. And I think Profit First is that first step towards giving you some sort of guidance. But eventually we want to understand our businesses more deeply and understand some of that nuance in a way that I just don't think Profit First alone is able to support larger businesses or more successful businesses with.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, I think it gives people a framework and a benchmark to work towards, a North Star.
Mhm.
But once again, every business is so different, and you can't just
Totally.
have a blanket set of percentages that work for everyone, because people have different cost of sales, they have different OPEX, they want to pay themselves differently, their business models are
Mhm.
different. So all of these things all add in. So I agree with you 100%. It's not the silver bullet that's going to solve everyone's problems. So, Barker, we've covered a lot of ground today, mate. So, if we have to summarize the kind of top 3 tips that online businesses need to go and implement for them to be successful in 2021 and beyond, what would be your top 3 actions for people to take away?
Well, I don't think this is going to be new for your audience, Jackson, but obviously, like, profit is such an important part of our businesses. So, the only way we can track the profit and know how profitable our business is by having proper financial tracking, right? So, let's not put our heads in the sand. Whether you're just starting off with profit first and you're working with Jackson, or you're ready to go, okay, profit first is cool, but I really want to have some better financial data, get some better bookkeeping. Let's start to bring the people into your business to start to help you get this financial data you need in order to make better decisions to keep your business profitable. Because I don't think it's any news. If your business is profitable, you get to pay yourself more. And then Jackson can help you make more money off the money you're making from your business, right? It's all really, really good things. So I think it's important that we're not putting our head in the sand with our finances. Number two, that we're finding people, whether it's your accountant, your bookkeeper, that they're people that understand your business model, and you're clear on what those relationships and expectations are going to be around what they're going to be doing to support you, and make sure you have a basic understanding of what you need to be doing to support them, to help them do the best job that they can. And then lastly, I just always say it on every podcast I do, just get a damn accountant. Get an accountant that you trust, and don't try to do your taxes yourself. Get, like, again, I know I want you to have a bookkeeper and an accountant that understands your business, but if you're going to start somewhere, just get an accountant and don't file your taxes yourself. Don't let Uncle Bob file your taxes. Just make sure you're managing the risk in your business properly, because that's a big part of entrepreneurship, is mitigating risk and making sure we're not taking unnecessary risk. And getting a good accountant involved in your business and building that relationship is one of the best ways you can start to mitigate risk in your business.
Super valuable, mate. This is amazing. So, if maybe there's an online business in the States that wants to connect with you and have a conversation about how you can help them with their bookkeeping, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Absolutely. So just go to Evolved Finance. That's EVOLVED, evolvefinance.com, and set up a call with me. If you're doing $100,000 or more a year in revenue, operating US dollars, and you're selling online products and online services, then let's talk. I'd love to be able to help get this financial data into your life, and help you get that set up. If you kind of want to learn a little more about some of the things we teach, we have a great free workshop, Know Your Numbers Now, on our website. And then I also have a podcast where I'm talking 15, 20 minutes a week about some of the different things we're seeing in our clients' businesses, some of these kind of financial concepts behind the scenes of our clients' businesses that might just help you, especially as you're working with Jackson and their team, around how to get the most out of the data and information in your business.
Beautiful, mate. I really appreciate you making the time. This has been super valuable. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with our audience. Guys, if anything we've spoken about resonates with you, you want to get in touch with Parker and the team to have a conversation, please feel free to do so. And this is another episode of the Enjoy the Journey podcast, and we look forward to catching you next time.